Hi everyone, back Paul here. So this weekend I went to my local Yamaha dealer because they had an MT day. So they had all the MT range available for test ride and they had different offers and promotions on and so on. And I thought it'd be a good chance to take an MT10 out for a spin. I'm not necessarily looking to upgrade from my MT09 because I do love the MT09, but I thought it'd be interesting to see what the MT10 is like. I've heard a lot of good things about the bike, and I just wanted to see kind of the difference between my bike and the MT10. I've always felt that bike's quite intriguing because of the engine that it's got, derived from the R1, and it's got the four-cylinder, but it's a bit different to a standard four-cylinder engine. It's a cross-plane engine with an uneven firing order, so I thought it'd be, a little different, something to try out. And yeah, this is my impressions from the test ride, and also comparing it to my bike. There's no on-bike vlog footage as such because I had some issues with my mic. So the video is basically my comparisons between the two bikes and my thoughts from the test ride with some photos from the bike I took out on that day and a short walk round video at the end, so you can hear the exhaust note on the bike and so on. And I guess first impressions then from the MT10. So the one I took out for the test ride was the ice fluo colour scheme that's new for this year. So it's kind of like a primer grey colour with the red wheels, and it's definitely distinctive. It really stands out. People do kind of give it a second glance as you go by. I'm not saying if it's the one I'd go for if I were buying the bike. I guess it's all down to personal taste. I'd probably go for, probably a standard black version, but if you want to stand out, then you definitely would on that. The wheels are even brighter when you see them in person than if you've seen it online or in bike magazines and so on. So it's definitely distinctive. And once you get on the bike, it does feel larger, especially the fuel tank. So the fuel tank's quite wide. It seems like a wider bike than the MT09, but the actual riding position is fairly similar. So you're still upright. It's kind of wide bars. You're not really in a crouch as such. Fairly similar position to the MT09, but yeah, the fuel tank being wider does make it feel like you're on a bigger bike. And also, when you start the bike up, you get that impression again because it's such a loud bike. It only had a stock exhaust, but I think it's down to, like I mentioned, the engine itself. It's kind of got like a deep note to the exhaust, but it's almost like a clattery noise. Very unusual, but very loud. So you can kind of feel the power straight away. You can tell that you're on a bigger engine bike. In terms of the kind of horsepower, I believe this is only from the Yamaha website and various other sites I've been on. The MT09 is 115 horsepower and the MT10 is 158. So you're looking at about 40 horsepower difference. Obviously, that might be different if official dyno figures. I think these are like the claimed figures. But yeah, there is that obviously power difference. The MT09 is 847, the MT10 is a 998cc. But once it's going, the actual bike itself doesn't really feel heavy. It's got a lot of initial acceleration, and again, you can feel the power. But when it's handling and going into the turns, it feels quite light. It doesn't feel like you're trying to maneuver a heavy bike. The weight difference, according to the specs, the MT09 is 193, the MT10 is 210 kilogram. That's the wet weight with a full tank of fuel. So yeah, quite a difference in weight, but it's not apparent once you ride in the bike. So that was a bonus and a positive. I didn't feel like, again, that I was on a big bike that was unwieldy. It handles really well. If anything, I think the brakes are more powerful than the MT09. It certainly seemed to be more powerful, and the brakes are fairly sharp. The suspension seems firmer, so I would personally say that's a bit of a positive. The MT09 can be a bit bouncy sometimes. I find I've not got the SP version, but when you're hitting bumps in the road, it does have a tendency to not really soak them up. You kind of feel it. Whereas the MT10, I didn't necessarily notice that. It seemed very firm, but in a good way. So the suspension was improved, I would say. And yeah, I mean the kind of power of the back is just immense. So that is obviously the big difference. if anything, for me personally, it kind of felt a little bit too powerful. I've come from a Triumph Street Triple before I got the MT-09, and I kind of felt the initial difference between those was quite big in terms of the MT-09 accelerated a lot quicker, it had a lot more character to the engine. Bit more like a hooligan bike, I guess you could say. But the MT10 is even on another level. You know, it accelerates so quickly. You kind of never feel like you're getting anywhere close to the limits of the power and the engine that the bike has. Maybe if you took it on a track day, but even then, I'm not a fast rider, so I probably wouldn't get nowhere near the limit of the bike. So from a kind of usable kind of power of the bike, I kind of feel more at home on the MT-09. It's definitely a beast, the MT-10, but it's whether you would, feel comfortable with it. And I'm happy with the MT-09. It's still an aggressive and very powerful bike, the MT-09, and that's why I'm not certain in terms of the price increase, especially from an MT-09 to an MT-10, whether I'd get the benefit of that. But if you've got an unlimited budget, then it's hard to not recommend the MT10 because it is an incredible bike. In terms of the price, on the Yamaha site, the MT-09 on the road is listed at £8,545, and the MT10 on the road is 11,945. So that's the current UK price. So you've got a difference of £3,400. So it's quite a big difference. I mean, in terms of the other features that the two bikes have got, they both share quite a lot of features really. So they've both got, slipper clutch, they've got riding modes, traction control. The MT10 has a couple other extras. So it has cruise control as standard. So that would be handy, if you're going on longer journeys or on the motorway quite a bit, then you can, pop it into cruise control. And that's a great feature. Not that surprised it's not on the MT-09 because I guess it's down to cost. The MT-09 on the road price is pretty good, and I think when I bought mine, it seems to have gone up a little bit. I'm pretty certain it was a little bit less than that as well. But yeah, cruise control, that's a great feature. It's also got a 12-volt DC outlet as standard on the MT-10, but in all honesty, I bought one for my MT-09, the Yamaha one, and I've got another video on my channel fitting that, and it wasn't expensive. But I guess it's a bonus that it's included, and you don't have to go to the hassle of buying that if you wanted to power your phone or run a sat nav and so on. So I guess really it's going to come down to what you feel in terms of the difference between the two bikes if you were going to decide between an MT-09 and an MT-10, and whether that increase of over £3,000 would be worth it. The only other areas that I thought were an improvement over the MT-09 is the dash. So it's got a larger screen on the MT-10 and it's more central rather than the smaller kind of offset to one side dash on the MT-09. And then I guess it's more styling and what takes your taste personally. So I prefer the MT-09, the looks of the MT-09. The MT-10, it's got this quite odd headlight arrangement where the headlights point downwards, and once the bike's up and running, you've got one headlight on and one off, and I'm not certain about that. It looks a bit strange, and the whole bike from the front, I'm not really sold on it. It's obviously, again, some people might prefer it and they might love that, but I don't. I actually prefer the MT-09. I think the LED lights on the MT-09 are a lot neater, and the front of the bike is a little bit more narrow, and it's all a lot tidier. The MT-10, though, it does have an underseat number plate rather than the MT-09 where it kind of hangs over the rear tyre. So again, that's down to personal preference. I prefer the MT-09. I've got used to that now, and yeah, again, it's all up to what you go for, I guess. The MT-10 has kind of smaller LED indicators as well, so they're a little bit more stylish. And other than that, the main difference visually would probably be the exhaust. It's more underslung on the MT-09. It's a little bit higher up on the MT-10. It's more like an actual exhaust can as such, and it does sound awesome. The MT-09 standard, it's got a fairly decent noise once it's higher revving, but you could quite easily miss it if it went past, whereas even on the stock exhaust, the MT-10 does sound incredible. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts overall on the two bikes. But it'd be interesting to hear what you guys think. You know, do you have an MT10? Do you use it as your daily bike? Or have you upgraded from an MT09, or would you consider an upgrade? Because I think I'd be quite torn if money wasn't an option as to which one I go for, because I can see the benefits of the MT10. It's just that power, although it's like I say, it's immense. I just don't know if it's kind of usable power. I think personally I'd rather go for the MT09. But I was surprised at the torque of the MT10. You know, it's not a gutless four-cylinder bike. There's so much torque. It's incredible, and it does accelerate really well. It's just obviously quite a big price increase between the two, and for me it kind of all comes down to the power. That's the kind of only bonus and benefit, or the big benefit between the two bikes. And I think I'm personally happy with the MT09. But yeah, it was an interesting day to take it out for a ride. And like I said, please comment on the video and give me your thoughts on this. Hopefully we'll put some more videos out soon as well, so if you like this and you want to see some more, then please subscribe to my channel as well.